Hey, today it was announced that Slingshot closed down. I guess I'll talk about it for a bit, but basically, money wasn't there, and sometimes that happens. Life moves on, right? As for me, I'm a bit sad about it. I wrote there for a long period of time, coming on, I don't know, year and a half right now. 3 articles a week, 10 plus article blogs a week. That's too much math right now to count however many articles I've written. If you want to take a look at it, you can go to slingshot so long as it's still up. I'm not sure how long it will stay up. And as for the rest, I feel like it feels like it's almost disrespectful to be sad, I guess, because I felt like we did great work there, and there was no particular regret about it. And it's not like I was just a content creator. I didn't really put my life's blood into it the same way like Joe or Vince did. So I feel way worse for them than I do for myself, because I was always like partially prepared. Like I I always made sure to put myself in the position where, like, even if like everybody blackballed me, and like I was a pariah or something, like I could still survive or whatever. And as for my own personal content, it's more of an addiction than a habit. So I'll just keep writing, whether or not it'll be for free or for paid. I don't really know. I'll have to see. I'll see if any offers come in. As for the rest, like to thank everybody I worked with: Joe, Vince, DK, Andrew, Emily. Feel like the content creators are pretty good. Andrew's a great Korean translator, and I feel like this is going to be a very important role for anybody who's doing Overwatch or League of Legends in particular. As for Emily, she's a great columnist in League of Legends, arguably one of the best. DK he's like one of a handful of investigative journalists left. I feel like he's the most important person you should pick up of anybody. Those are just my thoughts about it, just because I feel like investigative journalism it's like harder than ever, and there are very few as good or as dedicated as he is. Those are my own personal thoughts. As for me, I'm just a god of writing. No, I'm joking, but I could write anything, so just hit me up on Twitter or wherever you can find me. As for what I'm planning to do now is, like I said, writing is more of an addiction than it is a hobby. This was a project I had planned to do for the patreon.com/slingshot esports. Obviously, that's closed down now, but I'm still going to go on with it anyway. So basically, for the last 2 years, I've spent trying to break down and analyze CSGO to a level of satisfaction I was okay with. I think I finally reached it. I'll go into what I did and how I did it in one of the blog posts, maybe today or tomorrow, or I haven't really decided where or what it'll go on. But beyond that, basically, like, the entire reason it took this long compared to like any other game I might study or analyze, just because it's a 5v5 game. Obviously, I came from a 1v1 background, specifically StarCraft 2, where, yeah, it's not like StarCraft 2 is simpler, but it's more like there's only 2 actors within a game. In a game CSGO, for instance, on any particular map, there are 2 sides, CT side and T side. So those are basically 2 different types of games. There are 10 different players, so that's like already 20 subdivisions of analysis you can go into. On top of that is the economy. If you want, you can study pistols, ecos, anti-ecos, anti-forces, forces, gun rounds, single op setups, double op setups, how the nade count impacts any particular round. Like, for instance, CT side Inferno or CT side Cobble. I think those are must-win pistols for the CT side, because you need those extra nades in order to lock down your defense. Or, for instance, like Gob B at the Najer with Big, like he was like one of the, like, he understood the economy of what he was doing on Inferno, and that if you understand like the slight differences of economy, you can kind of like count or drain out the nade count of the other enemy team on the T side, and that's basically like one of his tactics, so to speak, I guess. So there's a bunch of minuscule stuff in there you can look into, and then on top of that, you're gonna have situations where, like I said, it's not even just 10 players; it's also like an entity as a team, and then what situations you put these players into, that changes everything. So, for instance, how does Device play against somebody like FaZe compared to somebody like SK or Fate or G2? He changes his game. He changes his game a lot depending on who he's playing against, who he thinks is the main target, and what map he's on. Right, that's just how he is. Like I've seen him do like randomly weird shit that he's never done to anybody else. Like against FaZe on Mirage, he once had an op, and then after they took mid control, he just ran into connector, jumped out of the smoke, and then shot Nico in the face. And he's never done this against anybody else in the entire history of like his time as a main opper in CS:GO. At least not on LAN that I've seen. So that was clearly like an anti-strat play, or an anti-strat play from Device. So there's stuff like that, or there's stuff like for pushing out in on CT side. Like there's some kind of system to his madness where it's pretty clear. Like he will push an envelope to the edge, but if he realizes the edge is even farther, he'll push it even further. So I think it was against Fnatic on a cash game. Like I remember looking into this, but basically what happened in like 3 consecutive CT rounds, he pushed A main, but then on the 4th, he pushed it all the way into a T spawn, and then he killed like 3 of them. And the reason he did that was obviously was because Fnatic respected like his aggressive pushes too much. So they're like, okay, we just have to push all the way back. Like it's not like they were waiting for him, because if you wait for Fur, he might just win that duel anyway. That's like the entire problem with playing against Fur on T side is, even if you know the push is coming, there's like a high chance he can still win the duel anyway. That's why he's such a fucking problem for everybody. At least for everybody that's not on SK. So yeah, that's stuff I looked into as well. And then on top of that, there's like, on top of all those different ways you can analyze a game, there's the fact that there's 7 different maps, and then there's the fact that in terms of style, like there are certain teams that have very specific styles that like counter against each other or work in different ways. So there's a lot of stuff you can analyze in CS:GO. I'm pretty sure it's endless. There's like so many variations, so many minuscule details that can change the way a round works, and then the way the round works may have an impact on the rest of the half, and the rest of that half may have an impact on something down the line you don't even realize. So there's a lot of information to be explored in CS:GO, and so I've basically reached a point where I'm okay with what I have. So I'm going to be start publishing scouting reports, and so it'll be about specific players, specific teams on different maps, and since I personally don't really care as to what player or what team gets picked up, you can just hit me up in the comments or hit me up on Twitter or whatever, and then I'll just choose whoever's the most popular at the time, I guess. I mean, I don't really care. If not, I'll just pick whoever and just go with it. For now, I'm gonna focus on the IEM Oakland players and teams. It'll just be about the top 10 or top 15 or so teams. If it's like Mongols or something, there's no way I'm gonna know anything about that. You should hit Bleh on Twitter if you want to know about them. I think you know much more about them than I do. All right, I think that's it. I've really enjoyed my time at Slingshot, and I'll just continue doing the work I've always done. See you later.